I used to take the chair by the window. Nobody ever asked me why you showed up late 3 days in a row, laughing like it wasn't worth explaining. I sent my bag to the floor without thinking. You sat down like you'd always been there. Funny how habits begin before anyone notices. It wasn't planned, it wasn't anything I tell my friends about. Just one less empty chair, one more reason to stay a little longer. I started saving you a seat, not because you needed one. It just felt strange when someone else took it. Some days we talk, some days we watch people come and go. Somewhere in between, it stopped feeling temporary. You pointed things outside the glass like they mattered for 5 seconds. A dog chasing a paper cup, someone missing the bus and laughing anyway. I remember those stories later for no good reason at all. Turns out ordinary things last longer than they should. I kept saying it's probably nothing, then I'd look up before you walked in, already making room. I started saving you a seat, not because I thought you'd notice. It became part of getting here. The coffee changed, the weather changed, the songs playing overhead changed too. The chair beside me didn't. Maybe that's all this is, a place we keep ending up. Maybe next month it'll feel different, maybe it won't. I'm not trying to name it, I'm just glad the chair is still there. You came in late again today. I moved my bag before you asked. You smiled like it was nothing. I smiled like it wasn't becoming everything. You left with my umbrella right before the rain let up. You said I'll bring it back tomorrow. I said take your time. It wasn't a promise, just something people say before walking in opposite directions. The weather changed twice that week, so did our plans. The umbrella stayed with you. Neither of us mentioned it first. Maybe that's why it never felt borrowed. It just kept finding another day. One more walk, one more see you later. One more reason not to call it the last time. Yeah, you sent a picture from the cafe, my umbrella leaning against the chair. I laughed longer than I should have. Not because it was funny, just because it looked like it already belonged there. Every forecast says sunshine, still you carried it anyway. I never asked why. I don't think you were waiting for me to. Maybe that's why it never felt borrowed. It became part of the week somehow. Coffee on Tuesdays, late trains on Fridays. The same umbrella showing up before either of us did. You probably hand it back someday. We'll both smile like that's what this was always about. Maybe we'll believe it, maybe we won't. It started raining again tonight. I reached for an umbrella that wasn't by the door anymore. My phone lit up while I was halfway through the dishes. Your name stayed there until the screen went dark again. I dried my hands, looked at it for a second, then finished what I started. The sink kept running, nothing felt urgent. I figured if it mattered, we talked before the day was over. I sent, just saw this. You wrote back, no worries. No question marks, no second message. Some conversations don't mind waiting. One missed call, nothing changed. You still saved me a seat. When I walked in, the coffee was already there. You waved without looking up. We picked up the story like nobody had pressed pause. You couldn't remember why you called in the first place. We laughed about it, ordered the usual. Watched people hurry past the window like they had somewhere better to be. Neither of us did. A song I almost recognized played for a minute overhead. You hummed the chorus wrong, I didn't correct you. The cups emptied slowly outside, the light changed. Someone locked the shop next door. A bike rolled past the window. Inside, the afternoon kept finding no reasons to stay. One missed call, that was all it was. Not something to fix, not something to explain. Just another small thing that somehow became part of us. The kind of story that never sounds important until you're telling it later. Maybe years from now, I'll forget the date, I'll forget what we ordered, I'll forget what we talked about, I'll forget who paid that afternoon. Maybe I'll even forget why you called it all, but I'll probably remember seeing your name on my screen, thinking I'll call back soon. Without worrying, you disappear. One missed call, one ordinary afternoon. Nothing dramatic happened, nothing needed to. Some memories arrive quietly, sit beside everything else, and never really leave. When we said goodbye, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't you. For some reason I checked anyway. I slipped the phone back into my pocket, started walking home, and smiled before I knew why. You asked if I had plans. I looked at my calendar, longer than I needed to. There wasn't much on it. Still I read every line, like I might find a reason. I said maybe after work. You smiled like that was enough. We never picked a time. You said text me later. I nodded before thinking. Somehow we still ended up at the same place before sunset, like the day had already made the decision for us. It happened more than once, neither of us pointed it out. We were getting good at leaving things unsaid. Some habits don't arrive loudly, they just keep showing up. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe after the rain stops, maybe when work slows down. I kept saying maybe, like I hadn't already started making room for it, like the answer was still somewhere ahead of me. You sent a picture of the sky, nothing special, just the color above your street. I looked outside my window to see if it was the same. It wasn't. Still, I stood there a little longer than usual. Later that evening, you asked how my day went. I skipped everything important and told you about the clouds instead. You said, I know exactly what you mean. I think that surprised me more longer than it should have. You asked, busy? I answered, not really. Then we kept talking for another hour. Some replies don't need many words. Some evenings don't need a reason. Maybe another coffee, maybe one more walk. Maybe we don't head home yet. Maybe we missed the next train. The strange thing was, none of it sounded uncertain anymore. The words stayed the same. I didn't. Somewhere along the way it stopped meaning if. I used to think maybe meant waiting. Lately it feels more like something quietly deciding before I notice it has. Like reaching for my jacket before you even ask. Like checking the weather without thinking who I'm checking it for. It's funny how ordinary words change first. Everything else just follows behind. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe when we have time, maybe after one more song. Funny how I kept choosing that word when I already knew I'd say yes. I guess certainty doesn't always sound certain. Sometimes it still answers with maybe. You asked the same question again, I gave the same answer. Maybe this time we both smiled first. Neither of us changed the plan. Neither of us needed to. For the first time, it sounded certain. I left the apartment 10 minutes before I had to. Nothing was different outside. The same bus stop, the same corner store, the same man walking his old dog. I blame the weather, I blame good timing, I blame the coffee for waking me up too soon. It sounded easier than saying I didn't mind waiting anymore. The bench was still empty, the lights hadn't changed yet. I watched a couple cross the street without really watching them. Some mornings feel longer in a good way. I got here earlier, just a little, not enough for anyone to notice. You asked, long wait? I said, not really. The funny part was I would've come sooner if I'd known I could. A bus pulled in and another one, neither was yours, I counted them anyway. Someone dropped a newspaper that kept sliding down the sidewalk. A kid rode past, ringing the same bicycle bell twice. Little things filled the space until you finally waved from across the street. It felt like the day you've been waiting to. You apologized for being late. I looked at the time for the first time all afternoon. You were only a minute behind. Some habits change the clock more than the hands do. I got here earlier, just by a few minutes. Somehow they stay with me longer than the rest of the day. You sat down beside me, the conversation started where it usually did, like yesterday had never really ended. I used to think waiting was the boring part. Now it feels like its own small place. The coffee cools a little, the street gets a little louder. People come and go, nothing asks for attention. Then you arrive, and somehow everything fits back together without trying very hard. I got here earlier again this week, again without a reason I could explain out loud. Maybe it wasn't about the time, maybe it never was. Maybe some days begin a little sooner because you're part of them. You smiled and said, I hope I didn't keep you waiting. I shook shook my head. We started walking, the empty bench stayed behind, already waiting for next time. You said Thursday works, like it was the easiest answer. I wrote it down, even though I knew I remember. The week kept moving the way it always did. Monday disappeared, Tuesday went unnoticed. Wednesday felt like a room you walked through. Then Thursday arrived before I realized I've been looking for it. Same cafe, same window. Someone was always sitting at the table we liked first. We never minded waiting, it usually empty, but usually empty before the coffee ready. Thursday, just another word on the calendar. Still I found myself counting toward it. Not because we planned much, not because anything happened. It was enough that you'd be somewhere inside the afternoon. Sometimes you got there first, sometimes I did. Whoever arrived earlier ordered 2 drinks anyway. The playlist overhead changed every week. The weather couldn't make up its mind. We talked about work, a movie neither of us finished, a bakery that closed too early. Things I would have forgotten if you hadn't been there to hear them with me. You'd say, same time next week. I'd nod before answering. It became one of those questions that never really needed one. Thursday, it stayed ordinary. The streets looked the same, the train sounded the same. Even the sky couldn't decide on a color. Somehow I still knew where I'd end up. I don't remember when it started, maybe it wasn't 1 week. Maybe it was 20, maybe nothing changed at all. Maybe I was the only thing that did. It's strange how a day can quietly become familiar without asking to mean anything more. Thursday, another page on the calendar, another coffee growing cold, another conversation that wandered somewhere unexpected. We never called it tradition, we never had to. Some weeks felt complete just because Thursday happened. You waved from across the street before the light turned green. I waved back, it looked like something we'd done forever. Maybe it only felt that way. Your message came in a little after 4. I'm around, that was all it said. No address, no question, no reason to explain. I looked outside, closed the book I've been reading, put on the same jacket as always, and left before replying. Some afternoons already know where they're going. I found you across the street, waiting for the light without looking impatient. You lifted your hand, I did the same. That seemed to cover everything. You said, I'm around. Somehow that was enough. No plans to rearrange, no countdown, just one short message, making the whole afternoon feel spoken for. We walked without deciding where we were headed. The first cafe was full, the second one had 1 table left. You order what you always did. I changed my mind twice before choosing anything. You laughed at something I can't remember now. Funny funny how I forgot the joke but kept the sound of it. Someone called your name, you turned around, waved for a second, then kept walking beside me. The city stayed busy, we didn't have to. You said I'm around like it was nothing special. Maybe it wasn't, maybe that's why I kept reading those words a little differently each time. Some sentences grow quietly without changing at all. I used to think plans needed details, a time, a place, something written down. Now a few familiar words seem to do the job. The rest happens somewhere between crossing the street, finding a table, and deciding there's no reason to hurry home. You said I'm around, I answered, give me 5. By the time I got there, it already felt like I've been part of the afternoon. Nothing remarkable happened, the coffee cooled, the sky changed color. We talked until there wasn't much left to add. Later that night, I looked back at the message. 2 words, nothing more. Funny how they've started sounding like an invitation every time they appear. I spotted you before you spotted me. You were standing on the other side of the street, holding the paper cup with both hands. The light was still red, cars kept passing between us. I thought about waving, waited another second. Then you looked up like you'd felt someone watching. You smiled first, I smiled back before either of us moved. The signal took its time, nobody seemed to mind. Funny how a few extra seconds can feel like part of the day. Across the street, you look close enough to hear. We didn't rush the light, we let it change on its own. Some moments don't get better by arriving sooner. You pointed toward a place I never noticed, a new cafe. You said it opened last week. We crossed together, then missed the entrance, laughed about it, and walked back half a block inside. Every table was taken except the one by the window. You said that figures like the afternoon had already made room for us. Someone hurried past without looking up. We stayed where we were until the crowd disappeared. The city kept moving, we didn't have to cross the street. Everything felt unhurried. You asked how my week had been. I started with something small, a train running late, a song I couldn't remember. Somehow those things make perfect sense there. There wasn't much to say about getting from one side to the other. Still, I think that's the part I remember most. Seeing you waiting, knowing I'd be there before the light changed. Not because we planned it, just because I was already walking across the street. You lifted your hand again. The traffic slowed, the signal changed. We met somewhere between your side and mine, like neither one had to cross alone. When I look back later, I couldn't remember what we talked about first. You looked at the time before putting your phone away. I should probably head home. I nodded like I agreed. Neither of us stood up, the cups were already empty. The cafe had started stacking chairs. Outside, someone folded an umbrella, even though it had stopped raining. You watched through the window, then you said, anyway. Like there was one more thought that hadn't found its place yet. We talked about nothing urgent, a bookstore that moved, the bus that never comes on time. The song they always play here, small things have a quiet way of making the evening stay. Anyway, the conversation kept going. One more story, one more turn, one more reason to walk a little farther. Funny how that word never seemed to mean the conversation was over. We finally stepped outside, the streets were cooler now. You asked if I'd seen the new lights by the river, I hadn't. So we crossed another block, someone was closing a flower shop. A cyclist rang a bell once before disappearing around the corner. You stopped halfway through a sentence, looked up at the sky and said, I thought it would be darker by now. I should really go, yeah, me too. We both smiled and started talking again before either of us took another step. Anyway, some evenings unfold that way. You stop saying goodbye without deciding to. The city keeps moving, the lights keep changing. Somehow we're still there, finding one more thing worth mentioning. Maybe that's why I like ordinary conversations. They don't announce when they become memories. One sentence leans into another, a pause turns into a laugh, a goodbye waits just a little longer. Nothing remarkable happened, still I'd remember that walk home before I'd remember anything we planned. Anyway, we made it halfway home before either of us noticed. The coffee was long gone, the shops had gone quiet, the words stayed small, the afternoon didn't. Sometimes that's all it takes. You turn the corner first, I watched until you disappeared. Then I caught myself smiling anyway. I'll probably see you Thursday. I said I'd head home right after we finished talking. That sounded true. When I said it, you nodded, looked out the window and started telling me about something small that happened on your way over. I don't remember the story exactly, just the way I stopped thinking about leaving. Funny how plans can stay the same until someone keeps talking. I used to think changing your mind always happened for a reason. Lately it feels quieter than that, like looking up and realizing you've already taken another street. Instead, we stayed a little longer. Instead, the evening found another hour. Nobody suggested it, nobody had to. One thought leaned into the next until going home stopped being the next thing to do. You asked if I'd been been sleeping better, I said, I think so. Then changed my answer before you replied. Maybe I was, maybe I only noticed the mornings differently. It's strange how ordinary questions leave the longest echoes. Not because they're difficult, because they keep returning after the conversation ends. I caught myself looking ahead again, not very far, just far enough to wonder if next Thursday would look much like this one. Instead, we talked about other things, a street we both liked, a place neither of us visited anymore. The kind of conversation that never tries to become important. Still, it follows you home without asking. I don't think anything changed that day. The cafe closed when it always does. The buses kept arriving, people kept passing by. Maybe that's why I remember it. Nothing asked to be remembered. Somehow it was anyway. I never decided to hold on to that afternoon. It simply stayed where I could reach it. Instead, I walked beside you a little farther than I meant to. Instead, I forgot what I was rushing back for. Maybe that's all it was, maybe that's enough. Some days don't become different until you look back and notice they already are. When I got home, everything was where I left it. The keys, the lights, the quiet. Only my plans seem slightly different than they had that morning. Nothing new happened today. At least that's what I told myself. The train was late by a minute. The coffee tasted the same. You asked how my week was going. I answered the way I always do, pretty normal. Then we started talking about things neither of us had planned to mention. It's funny how ordinary conversations never seem ordinary while they're happening. I thought I remember something bigger instead. I keep coming back to the quiet parts, the pauses, the sentences that almost went nowhere. Nothing new. The streets were still the streets. The sky couldn't decide what color to settle on. You stirred your coffee without looking down. Somehow that stayed with me longer than anything either of us actually said. Yeah, you asked if I've been busy. I said more or less, that felt close enough. We let the silence sit for a little while. It didn't ask to be filled. Someone laughed at another table. A chair scraped across the floor. I noticed all of it without really paying attention. Maybe that's what happens when you're not trying to remember a day. It remembers itself. I used to think memories arrived all at once. Now they seem smaller than that. They wait insane inside things I almost overlook. Nothing new. We walked the same streets again, stopped at the same light cross when everyone else did. I caught myself thinking I'll probably remember this afternoon before I'd remember what made it different. Maybe I keep expecting important moments to announce themselves. Maybe they never do. Maybe they borrow the shape of an ordinary day. Sit beside you for an hour, then quietly follow you home. I don't think I'd noticed that before. Or maybe I had, just not in words. Nothing new. That's how I describe today. Maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe that's exactly why it stayed with me. Not because it stood apart, because it fits so easily into everything that I familiar. When I got home, I emptied my pockets, set my keys on the table, and thought about the day for no particular reason. Nothing new. Still, I don't think I'd trade it for another one. Lately, I've been leaving the house a little earlier than I need to. Not early enough to call it a habit, just enough to stop rushing. I used to think I liked getting there on time. Now I wonder if I only like the few minutes before the part where nothing has started yet. I keep noticing small changes first. The way I slow down at familiar corners, the way I stop checking my phone every other minute. I don't remember deciding any of it. Lately, the days feel different without looking different. The streets haven't changed. The trains still arrive when they arrive. Still, I end up remembering things I would have forgotten before. You asked what I've been up to. I almost said nothing much, then I thought about it. A few walks, a few coffees, one conversation that stayed with me longer than I expected. It's strange, I used to measure days by what happened. Now I think it's more about what quietly remains. Funny how I keep saying everything's been the same. Maybe that's true, maybe I've just started looking at it differently. Lately, I don't mind when plans change. I don't mind walking another block. I don't mind waiting a little longer somewhere along the way. Those things stop feeling like delays. I thought change would be obvious, something you'd notice all at once. Instead it feels more like finding yourself finishing a sentence you didn't know you'd already started. Nothing dramatic, nothing to explain, just a quieter version of yesterday. Lately, I've been thinking less about where the day is going. Maybe that's why I remember it better. Not because anything remarkable happened, because I stopped expecting remarkable things to happen. When I got home, I looked at tomorrow the way I always do for a second. It felt familiar for another second. It felt new. I couldn't really tell which one I preferred. I used to leave as soon as the conversation slowed down. I'd check the time, finish the last sip, say I should get going and mean it. Lately I don't notice when another half hour disappears. Some evenings seem to fold into themselves. I don't remember when I stopped keeping track. I only know it doesn't feel unusual anymore. Funny how I still think of those days like they're just behind me. Maybe they are, maybe I only notice the distance when I look back. I used to think every day ended the same way. Go home, lock the door, turn the lights on, call it a day. Now something small keeps following me home. I don't always know what it is, I just know place. I almost said yes, then I realized I'd only started coming here after we found it by accident. Strange how memory works. It smooths the edges, it makes yesterday feel older than it is. Sometimes I forget what belonged to me first and what quietly arrived later. I keep catching myself using the word always. Most of the time it isn't true. Some things only feel that way because they become familiar. I used to think routine meant repetition. Now it feels more like recognition. The same street, the same table, the same quiet pause before either of us speaks. Nothing repeats exactly, still I know it when it comes back. Maybe I give past too much credit. Maybe I remember it simpler than it was. The version in my head always seems more certain. Real days never are. They change a little, then a little more, until one afternoon you realize you've been calling something new by an old name. I used to believe I know it's changed the moment it happened. Instead it arrived quietly in smaller conversations, in slower walks and ordinary Thursdays. By the time I understood it, it already felt familiar. I unlocked my door, set my keys on the shelf and stood there